When is the last time we put this much thought into a vice presidential candidate?
I think it's got to be when John McCain picked Sarah Palin to be his running mate. You know what I learned back then? If you're paying a lot of attention to the vice presidential candidate, that's a bad sign.
The VP's job is kind of like a backup quarterback. Your main concern is being ready to step up if the quarterback can't play. But there's an unspoken part of the job, and that's that you lend your support quietly. You're not supposed to be a distraction to the team. You're supposed to be in the background. JD is making a lot of noise. It's that, do your job quietly part that he seems to be forgetting.
Do you remember when JD Vance tried to attack Tim Walz' service record?
Walls served for over 20 years. JD served for 4, and he was a combat correspondent.
And if what I read is true, he didn't even have a cool nickname like Joker. He was called Sergeant Scribbles. Let that sink in. Sergeant Scribbles.
And let's face it, here's the problem with JD Vance going down that rabbit hole. If he shines a light on Walls' service record, then you know people are going to shine a light on his service record. That's not the big problem. The real problem is that people are also going to start to shine a light on Trump's service record, or lack thereof. So guess what? Now JD is resurrecting all of the magic bone spurs issues that people have painted Trump with in the past, reminding us all that people have accused Trump of being a draft dodger. Is that an issue that we need to be focusing on? Not really. But is there any way to avoid it if JD goes down this path? Well, clearly not. But that wasn't JD's biggest contribution to the campaign. Oh no. That would be dogs and cats. And who can forget that one?
If I have to create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do.
So let me see if I'm getting this straight. You took flimsy, uncorroborated data and used it to create a story around a lie that you wanted to sell to the American people. Not only did you do that, but then you handed that data to your boss just in time for him to walk it out onto a national debate stage and have it blow up in his face. Thanks for that. If I'm connecting the dots, I think that's how they line up. Now, that's bad. But it doesn't end there, does it?
I didn't create 20,000 illegal migrants coming into Springfield thanks to Kamala Harris's policies. Her policies did that, but yes, we created the actual focus that allowed the American media to talk about this story and the suffering caused by Kamala Harris's policy.
Okay, so not only did you tell a lie, but you're defending it. Okay, so this gets really confusing. So I'll just tell you how I try to sort it out in my head. JD made up a story about Haitian immigrants because he wanted to draw attention to the illegal immigrant crisis in America. But there are a bunch of problems with the story. I think the biggest problem is that he's talking about these illegal Haitian immigrants in Springfield. And those Haitian immigrants are legal. So that's a mischaracterization in and of itself. Then he's talking about these grotesque eating practices of the Haitian immigrants who were munching on dogs and cats. But they're not munching on dogs and cats. I think we just use different language here because he says he's creating a story. Where I'm from, we just call that lying. On Tuesday, there's going to be a vice presidential debate. Normally, nobody'd care, this time might be a little bit different. If I'm Walls, I know what I'm walking in there with because JD's been making a lot of noise and I'm going to take advantage of it. So I'm going to ask him why Americans should feel confident in his ability to step in and be president, given that he's only got about 2 years of political experience as a junior senator. I'm going to ask him why he continues to push this lie about illegal Haitian immigrants eating dogs and cats. And frankly, if it were me, I'd ask him why he broke code, because veterans don't usually critique other veterans for their service records, especially veterans who've put in more time than them. That's just weird. Oh, and then if I'm JD, I'm going to be wondering how I just put my boss in such a predicament, because that's the exact opposite of what he's supposed to be doing.